Well, I felt the painting was actually very weak here. Well, not the painting. This area was very weak here. These trees are quite strong. They draw a lot of attention. They needed a firm foundation, and bringing this rock under here, allowing that to sort of be an undercut in front of what a person would expect to be, older, firmly rooted trees. I wanted to give this knoll more mass and design-wise more importance. So I've still allowed a bit of rock to show on the backside. That's probably going to stay. So that was one issue. Trees are painted in. They're probably going to get the odd highlight here and there, not much. But I'm getting into the painting wet and wet, like this area is going very wet and wet now. So my brush strokes, it's almost impossible to give them as direct a look as I would like to have. So I'm going to hold off on that for now. It's pretty much there. Before I go to the water, my next problem lies in here. And I'm still not happy with that. Looks too indecisive for me. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I may shorten the fence, highlight it more. I will probably give a little more light to this sort of next plane of grassy area. I'll probably give that a little higher value so that this shape stands out more, because I like the tree coming down here and then the shape is repeated here. So this supports that. That seems to work out fairly well. But yeah, this fence and the hillsides just kind of, it really, to me, it looks like what I was thinking. It just looks unsure. So I'm going to have a little sit and think about that. I think I would like to solve this before I jump into the water. Well, I'm having one of those moments that makes painting all worthwhile. I am so absolutely thrilled with the decision to highlight the background when the main focus is this knoll. Typically I'll put the highest value and or chroma on this knoll. Well, that's what I ended up doing behind the knoll, more in the distance. But this line complements this so well, and it just turned out well. Yeah, it's partly skill, partly experience, and still a lot of luck. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you. I think that turned out really well. Now I just have to deal with the fence that's above it and the distance. So in the spirit of changing my mind constantly, and being a little tentative about what to do here, I'm gonna work on the water now. Once that water's in place, that again is giving me more information about the painting broadly. It's gonna help me, I hope, decide what to do here. It's possible that once the water is in place, this doesn't need very much, or maybe anything. But we'll see. So I think I'd like to, the water, I'd like it to pick up our ambient color, which really would be the sky, so the sky comes up over us. It's still fairly cloudy. Maybe there's a blue patch or something, I don't know. So what I'd like to do is sort of stick with the theme of the sky colors in general, and maybe use a little bit of put a little blue in it in places, or different types of blue, just to bring up bluer. To have a mass of blue here would be very complementary against these yellows. So, sort of a mature grayish blue against these yellows, I think that could work very well. It'll help the painting to stand out a little bit more. And, it may very well help the way these hills are. So let's just start with a little bit of raw umber and titanium white and a little bit of cobalt blue. I have it toned down. So now is a good time to catch the edges with it. I'm leaving a bit of a space between the water and the land, because in places where the water meets the land there will be a little bit of a highlight. Okay. Okay. I've got a bit of oil in my paint at the moment. I don't know if I'm going to leave it in there. Trying to keep my strokes, trying to keep the brush strokes fairly horizontal. And we'll put a few here and there in different places. Just to try to keep it mixed up a little bit. Many of these colors, many of these brush strokes will be of the same value, same color. So I like to have them show up in different areas in the painting. There will be a general pattern emerging as we get closer to the ending of the water. So generally we have this sweeping up. I think generally we'll have that dropping down in the water. I'm adding a bit of ultramarine blue to my mix now. This is going to be one of those paintings where we get a little darker in the foreground, trying to draw less attention to the foreground. And yeah, I've gone to, what is this, a number 8? Number 8 round brush. Okay, a little more ultramarine blue and raw umber, and a hint of white. Did not add any linseed oil to this, to the brush now. I'm just sort of letting the linseed oil run out. Excuse me. Okay, that's all right. Went a little bit lighter than I wanted to down on the bottom here, but you know, as I say, it's much easier to go lighter, lay light over dark than it is to lay dark over light in a clean fashion anyway, so I have to be careful of that. But I think we're okay. I'll get rid of a little bit of debris there. Well, I think I kind of made a bit of a mistake here. I should have grabbed a bigger brush maybe right away. I won't worry about it. But now that we have that blue in there, you know, not the values so much, but at least the color, I'm becoming a little more comfortable with it, because we are, you know, sort of falling within these areas and this area. And we're not too far off from the sky. So, I think we're doing the right thing. The water occupies a fairly large portion of the canvas, so I was a little concerned about, could I make it interesting enough without putting some structure in the foreground. I was tempted to do that, but I believe that trying to echo some of the colors some of the colors and light that are in the painting, I'll be able to do that without putting additional structure, because additional structure would kind of, in a way, run into the possibility of competing with our main, with our main area, which isn't the most intense to begin with. I'd like the painting to be a little bit soft. Always a little bit of junk to pick off here and there. I always keep a palette knife handy. It's sitting on my palette just for this alone. If I don't get every little bit of debris, that's fine. I'm not worried about it. But that's the nature of an oil painting, to leave a little behind. I don't think you're going to get any complaints about that. It's one of the things that makes it look painterly. But too much is too much. Okay, we're going to go back into the cobalt blue now. Okay, we'll warm it up a little now. I'm going to put in just mix some raw umber with that. So we'll get a little browner, a little warmer. Slightly higher value, not much though. I think that the place where I'm going to, or the way in which I'm going to marry the sky and the water, or the colors in the distance and the water, is really just going to be in some ripples, or a hint of current, or a hint of movement, or something that resembles a bit of a cat's paw, you know, where a gentle breeze licks the surface of the water. That always causes some variations in value and in color. Okay, that might just be a little bit too tidy. We'll see. Might have to mess it up. So we're going up in value now. I'm going more in the direction of raw umber and adding a little bit of yellow ochre in places to that raw umber. And some titanium white just to lighten things up. Go, you know, the blue is our base, our deep grayish blue. Now we're starting to, you know, it's not a perfectly calm day, so there is a bit of disturbance in the water. So in our highlights, we're picking up some of the sky colors, and I'm not going too strong just yet. Just sort of halfway between our lowest value and our highest value, laying in a fairly broad area of design in some of this water. I'm not getting too I don't want to end up being too busy here in the foreground, but I think the painting can stand a few strokes. And then once, you know, I'm happy with the number of strokes that are in there, to indicate a little texture and indicate that the sky is being picked up in the water, then I'll most likely go with a little bit of yellow ochre, just a hint of raw umber, and quite a bit of white. And then I will selectively pick some of these. They will be somewhat grouped for smaller yet higher value touch-ups just towards the end. And I think I'm just going to leave that for the moment, and what we'll do is let's revisit these hills now. I think what I'm going to do, because I've you know, there's a lot of blue in this painting all in all, even though toning down this purple or removing it will take away some of the, you know, it's not a very flamboyant painting to begin with color-wise. So it will become maybe a little less colorful if I tone down this purple, which is really more of a magenta. It's really gone too pink for my taste. And if we let's just as a test here, let's just touch it with a little bit of burnt sienna, and I just mean a very small amount. And what goes very well with burnt sienna can simply be ultramarine blue. I think as a base color for our hills back there, this might be the right thing to do. Yeah, I think it will be. You know, it sisters up with this better. It sisters up with these areas better. Right now it's just so purple it's an outlier, so I think I may make it a little bluer. Okay, now I gotta fill in between the lines.